Welcome back to another segment of Gems Podcast. With me in the hot seat is a special guest by the name of Mss Francois, and she is going to bring the heat because she is Trinidadian, y'all. And if you know anything about a Trinidadian, they hot and spicy. So let me tell you a little bit about Mss Francois before we dive into our segment. Mss Francois is a dynamic entertainer, speaker, producer, writer, author, and game-changing trendsetter that aims to inspire. She migrated from Trinidad and Tobago in her late teens to establish a new legacy for her life. She's the host of the Mss Francois Show, a talk show that encompasses candid conversations with a variety of entertainment and uses humor to help others with their dysfunctional relationships. The show was created out of the frustration and heartache over her failed romantic relationships. Many tune in to be engaged, empowered, and entertained as it provides a well-needed distraction from the array of emotions that are experienced in different stages of relationship. Her talk show can be seen in New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C., as well as Canada and 22 Caribbean countries. So without further ado, let's welcome the heat, the fire behind it all, Mss Francois.
Hi, Genesis. How are you?
I am doing well.
I thought you was never gonna stop because I always tell people I don't like to be humble. I like people to talk about me.
So thank you so much for just coming on here and just engaging in what we're going to have is a coffee style chat conversation. And it's going to be as if we met in a coffee shop and we're just going to enjoy it. And the cool thing is that you're Caribbean, you're from the Caribbean. My mother is Caribbean, so I'm first generation American. And so I would love to hear all the hot spice. And you know what? I want to give big ups to Trinidad and Tobago because no one can do roti like a Trinidadian can.
That's hilarious. Well, at least you're using Trinidadians for something. Thank you.
So before we dive into our segment is, how do you really maintain your balance whenever you are in the social media limelight without losing yourself? But before we dive in, I definitely want to give the audience a chance to get to know you in a fun and personal way. And I like to do that by either doing a icebreaker with you or a rapid fire 10 question. So what are you in the mood for?
Rapid fire.
So
Because hot, remember, is a Trini, so hot.
We're doing rapid fire with Genesis and Mss Francois. Question number 1. What is your favorite Caribbean dish?
Doubles.
Doubles? Okay. Question 2. I want to see if you know this term. Can you scowl?
Oh God, no, girl. What the hell is that?
So when my aunt first met my husband, he's American, and she's like, you could scowl? And he's like, what is that? And so that means, can you cook?
Okay, you could keep that one. I know about that.
So do you like to cook?
No, but I tell people I can cook. I can cook, but I don't like cooking. I'm allergic to my kitchen.
Oh gosh. Question 3, dream car, dream home, or both?
Dream car or dream home would be my dream car.
Oh, what's your dream car?
I love Audis, but A8. That's my dream car. I mean, I don't want to live it anyway. I want to live everywhere. So I have like one home. That's for regular people.
Question 4. What makes Mss Francois Mss Francois? What's that wild card ting?
Well, the MSS stands for multi-talented and super sexy. So yes. One of a kind.
Question 5. If you could trade places with anyone, who would it be?
Oprah.
Ooh, okay. Question 6. If you could be a fly on the wall and eavesdrop on any conversation, past or present. What conversation are you listening into?
I just want to hear Michelle and Obama having a conversation, like what they really actually say when they're alone. That must be some juicy stuff.
Oh my gosh. 7. What is your favorite Trini slang?
Oh God. Oh gosh, girl.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea that was a Trini thing. I thought it was just my Auntie Gloria thing because she always says that, or she'll be like, "Oh Father God," and I'm like, Auntie Gloria, it's okay if you condense the prayer. And Jesus knows our heart. Let's eat.
Oh God. But one thing with Trinidad is I feel like a lot of times when we talk, we don't break up our words. We make everything one sentence. Oh God, again, I can't believe you're doing that. And I'm like, we need to pause, people. Pause.
Yes, and for those of you listening, she just said, "Oh God, girl, I can't believe you're doing that," because I know it's really fast. Question 8. You just want an all expense paid getaway anywhere you want to go. Money is no option. However, okay. Dang, good. I love when these rapid fire questions come fast. 9. Have you ever thought about boxing down somebody?
Yeah, all the time. Girl, I just come from work. Don't edit. Okay. Next thing they come looking for me. All the time. Sometimes people say good morning. I just want to box them down one time.
Oh gosh. And question 10. It's our pass or play question. And here are the rules. If you pass, our roles are reversed for this question, and you get to ask me something. If you play, I ask one last question to wrap up rapid fire. So do you want to pass or play?
I play. I don't want to know nothing about you.
She come on me show and she real rude. No, just kidding. Question 10. Whenever you decided to say MSS, what were the thoughts behind MSS for you to have the Mss Francois?
Well, the funny thing is, I was trying to do Instagram and I was all new to social media, and MS was taken, MRS was taken, MISS was taken. So I just put a S and I was like, oh my God, someone gonna ask me, everyone asked me, oh, you misspelled it. And honestly, I just came up on it on a whim. I mean, I'm always sexy, so that's typical. But someone tried to tell me, oh, it should be something fancy, like like some overly educated master's PhD. I'm like, no, multi-talented and super sexy. That just describes me. So, and it makes me, after I say it, I feel extra sexy and extra confident.
Multi-talented and super sexy. Okay. Well, thank you for playing Rapid Fire with Genesis. So let's dive into the work that you're doing. So you're in the limelight. People could say, oh, Mss Francois has it going on. So what helps keep you grounded without losing yourself at the appeasement of others?
So who said I was grounded? Oh, you assumed. I shouldn't assume.
So you're not grounded?
Girl, sometimes I'm not even sure which part I am. A lot of times I think with me is time management for certain things and staying focused and remembering what your goals are, and the people that are closest to you keep you on a certain level. Sometimes your head gets too big when certain things go a certain way. Like I had a TEDx talk, and after the TEDx, I was like, ain't nobody could talk to me. I'm amazing. You know how hard it is to get one of those. But I think the people around me help keep me grounded. But I think it also has to do with how I was brought up. As in Trinidad, we say brought up, see? So, thanks to my parents for helping me keep grounded. I wasn't spoiled or anything like that. I get a cut tail ever so often, so I'm very grounded. Kind of hard not to be.
Oh man, and let me translate a little bit. So
Okay.
a cut tail, y'all. That means the Americans would say a good whoop ass, or your backside get bruised, or something like that. Because What you don't know, growing up in a Caribbean household, whenever your parents say something, it's golden. There's no talking back, there's no asking them questions because whatever they have in their hand, you may just get a cut tail with that. And not in an abusive way. So don't go out and say, oh my gosh, she was abused.
Oh my
Because
God, Genesis, girl, you okay? You need therapy?
so it's just a different culture, a different environment. She's alive, she's well, and she's learned. So Ms. Francois, based on the work that you're doing today, do you feel like your family will approve or disapprove? Because sometimes, whenever we choose to do something, once we are an adult, we are full grown and a whole hashtag adult. Your parents still want to interject whenever you are adult, even if you're married.
I see Genesis have some serious issues that she's trying to bring up on her show. But I must say, my mom and dad, they are amazing. It doesn't, my parents are so supportive. I could decide I just want to shovel poop on the side of the street, and they'll be like, "What kind of shovel you need me to buy? I'll get the bag. I'll come help." They have always been supportive because since growing up, some of the classes I wanted to do when everyone was doing business and accounting, I wanted to do art and craft and sewing. And my parents was like, "Oh, I'll get you the sewing machine. Oh, I'll help you." So I have very supportive parents. So honestly, if I want to get naked and take off my clothes, my parents might say, well, don't put on that, you should wear this instead.
See, it's very important because the reason why I ask that question is because sometimes whenever people see someone from the Caribbean, they think all the Caribbean cultures are alike when each one of them has its own level of spiciness. And I
Yeah.
feel like you have to know how to deal with your family, but you also have to know how to set boundaries because sometimes people can overstep their boundaries. And even though your parents say one thing, if you go out on the road and you walk and you see Miss So and so and you don't speak to Miss So and so can give you a cut tail or they could tell your parents. So then not just getting one cut tail, you'll get two. You'll get one from Miss So and you'll get one and
Genesis
you
had
get.
a hard life.
So I had an easy life compared to my brothers because I said I'm straight out of the American game, all made in the US.
Good.
And
You're like, I know the laws. You can't touch me.
my brothers now who were born in the Caribbean, they said, "Oh my gosh, you had it golden, like you got away with murder." I said, "No, no, no, I didn't bury no bodies, but I just knew policies." So, Miss Francois, now that you are in the U.S. and you came here whenever you were in your teens, was it hard adapting to life in the U.S.?
Oh, hell yeah. It was a very traumatic experience. I always say, sometimes they say if you wanted to change something, sometimes for many, many years, that's what I wanted to change because people, when they send you up here, when you come from a small country like that, people have an idea of what it is. Oh, it's America, it's New York, everything free, you have money everywhere. And then also when you come in here and staying with family, it's not the same. People are always kind to you when they know you're leaving in 2 weeks or 2 months, but when you come in there, sometimes a lot of different things goes on. It was a very hard transition for me.
So, what was the hardest part of the transition for you?
Them family evil, girl.
Oh God.
No, because first of all, I always say my mindset. I was 17, but my mindset was like a 10-year-old, and I came from a culture where all adults are auntie and uncle, and you believe what the, older people or to tell you is the truth, and they will guide you. In America, that's not the same case. A lot of times, sometimes people use you, tell you the wrong thing. They were not very supportive, and I had like a mindset of a 10-year-old. I wasn't sure and I didn't have higher self-esteem. So a lot of things that went on was unacceptable when I look back. And a lot of times is you could sleep with a man here for money and stuff like I was not accustomed to. I'm a virgin. I don't know anything. All I know is about school and God. So coming in America and people are so much more free here, it's definitely a shock to the system. And I had the situation where if you put the light on, you're running up the bill, you're not doing this. And in Trinidad, no one really has jobs when you're like a teenager. Your parents make sure you have clothes and shoes for a good, way into your adulthood to a certain point to come in here and you have to get a job. I'm like, why? I don't get that. So it was really hard and no one really sits you down and explain these things. Or I think my family at the time that I stayed with them was just money hungry. So it's how Miss Francois could get them money. That's all it was concerned about.
Oh wow. And I could I could kind of resonate with that because I have a cousin who came to the States to go to university, and he said, "Oh, things are so different here." I said, "Did you think that we had silver spoons and golden spoons?" And we're like, "Where the money resides, where the money resides." No, you have to go out and work hard. I said, "A man who does not work does not eat."
Yeah, because I tell people it's when you work here, the money you can, like in Trinidad, I had a shoe for school, a shoe for church, and a shoe for going out shoe. Everything is right. But here, when you do work, you could get so many different things. God knows I have almost 50 pairs of shoes now. But it's just adjusting here is you come in from a country where it's bush lush greenery for the Americans, lush greenery. But you coming from bush, you have no house and the goat over there, the sheep, the cow, and then you come here. I remember one time I saw, like I was looking for a stone, and I'm like, why they don't have any stones here? Suppose a dog rushed me. But again, adjusting it was very different.
So once you got adjusted and you found your place and things were plush here, did you feel like it was your obligation to send money back home to help the family members there?
Can I have no damn money? In the beginning, I used to sell barrels and stuff like that because I was struggling, like struggling here. Again, the family, I end up being put out on the streets and stuff like that. So I had a very hard transition. I was just trying to make it sound sugar coated. Okay, so I was one of those. My life could have gone a whole different way from where it did go. But when I did get situated, of course, plus you feel good too sending money home because you feel like you have accomplished something. So in the beginning was barrels and stuff like that. But I said, as soon as everybody's grown enough to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife, you don't need my barrel anymore. You could buy your stuff yourself. You're an adult.
And then y'all, so whenever you send barrels, it's like those big brown things, or sometimes they're blue, and
Yeah.
you pack stuff in it. So like it could be snacks, it could be toiletries or whatnot, and you could either send it on plane, which is more expensive, or you could put it on boat. For those who send it on plane, I think it's a Mary Jet. Well, here in Texas, we use a Mary Jet. But sometimes, sometimes people could be ungrateful. They want name brand things. They don't know how hard you have to work for name
Well,
brand.
thank God, girl, I came here in the 90s. They didn't know any better. When I go in that 99-cent store, they're like, wow. Now with TV and everybody have Netflix and all these things, everything, I feel like the world is so much smaller now. So now they know. Back then in the 90s, they don't know nothing.
Oh, yes. Things are so different now when you go home to the Caribbean. They have the name brands
Yeah,
on.
they have more stuff and more American than I am, okay? So
Yes.
they good.
Oh man. And then you see all the cars that they import. And my cousin calls them the big poppy cars. So if you have like a Audi, a Hummer, a BMW, be like, girl, that's a big poppy over there. And I'm like,
If you
what?
don't get robbed.
So it's funny. So, do you think all of the stuff that you had to endure from whenever you left Trinidad to come to the States, and then just some of the trials and tribulations that you had here, led you to be more passionate about the work that you're doing today in entertainment?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I have to go through so many things, and even my show having to do with relationships and all the ups and downs, and all these things do stem from childhood, self-esteem, not loving yourself, so forth and so on, and ending up in certain relationships. It definitely frames you to who you are as of right now. God knows that hopefully I continue to grow to get better because I'm tired.
Oh God, oh God. So,
I realize I'm talking more with my accent now because of you. I don't even use it this much, okay, ma'am? Thank you for bringing it out. And you with your little fancy accent. Well, let me tell you how to. My God, we don't like people like you. Sometimes we see some of you people. You sound like the ones in tongue.
Really? Okay. Well, let me be more Americanized and hip, because it's like whenever I talk, the Black folks or the melanated or color say, "Oh, you sound like an Oreo," or then some people on the other side of the tracks be like, "Oh, you're Black." I had no idea. I didn't know.
Because you have that nice, sweet voice, but then you have a little twang in it. And obviously that's because, your family and everything mixed up, and then you're like Harvard graduate, but girl, let me tell you. But, and then you switch in between and then you still have a slight song in it. That's a lot, girl. I just pure Trinity.
So with your show and the huge success that you have, 22 Caribbean countries, Canada, and certain parts of the US, how does it feel to have that much exposure?
It's sometimes I still don't believe it because again, when you know where someone have started, certain things is amazing, especially when someone like they Facebook you, Instagram, or someone from Barbados or something, and so, oh, I saw your show. So that makes you feel like all the work was not in vain. So I am still growing, and I'm just proud of how far I've come from knowing next to nothing in television.
As my rapper friend Drake, which we're not friends, yeah, but he says, started from the bottom, now I'm here. And he's like,
you have friends in high places.
hey, I wish I could meet Drake. And I tell people I was a fan before he became Drake. When he was Jimmy Brooks and he got shot and he was in a wheelchair on Degrassi. So I was like, get at me, okay? I knew Drake went.
I like how you had the whole story. That's funny.
So another celebrity icon from the Caribbean that everyone knows is, they call her Bad Girl Riri. And Riri
so you can pick a Trinidadian at Nicki Minaj. You break with the Bajan, but it's all right. Go ahead.
Well, we can talk about Nicki. I'm Nicki Minaj. But no,
you just scared me. But
or even Cardi B. Cardi B mentions that she had Trinidadian roots. She just did David Letterman's show on Netflix. I'm not sure if you saw that. She talked about her Trinidadian roots, and I had no idea that she had Trini roots. But since Rihanna just had a baby with A$AP Rocky, people were talking about how she was half naked like throughout her pregnancy. They're like, oh gosh, girl, the baby gonna get a head cold. She ain't got no clothes on. Just got the belly all hanging out. And then, or they'll say, oh man, she sure knows how to pick them, those bad boys. She had a bad relationship with Chris Brown. Now A$AP Rocky, he got locked up. Oh my gosh, what is Rihanna thinking? And I feel like sometimes when you see people that are from the Caribbean and in high places and on the media, they forget about all the good that they do whenever that negative story comes out. Like they forget how she gave money back to Barbados, or that she has Fenty, her makeup line, or she has other good things that she's doing. And she's not just an entertainer. She has other things that she does to give back. Do you feel like you see that in your profession just from the outside looking in, where you kind of...
I would say, but think about that in just regular people. People always focus on the one thing that they consider to be negative, and you could have done 10 years of helping the homeless, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe she ate that, and she ate it with her back turned to the left. Like, what? And again, at the end of the day, you don't even know A$AP Rocky. You don't even know anything of the story. You don't know Rihanna. And she seemed to have a very strong Caribbean background, because let's be real, she came up here when she was like 15 or 16. So she was already grown. So she, and her mom was a real Bajan mom. And as for the naked stuff, let's be real. Once you have money, she could have wear socks, a hat on she had. It doesn't really matter. She could have walked the road naked. But if I didn't do it, they would have taken me to the madhouse. So money matters, celebrity matters, and we can't put ourselves in those kind of same situations.
So Mss Francois, I challenge you to just on one of your shows, dress like Riri on one of the shows, and just see if they see you differently.
Well, in my regular job, I mightn't have a next job. So just make sure you make room. So I'll be moving in with you because I wouldn't have no job to pay rent or bills.
Um,
Oh, God.
and based on all the funniness, the laughter, and etc., is there any question you wish that I would have asked you, or something you want to say to add value to the conversation? We dove a little bit into your personal life, and we also talked about things that makes Miss Francois multi-talented, sexy, and hold on, I'm losing the other
Messing
S.
it up. Multi-talented and super sexy.
Okay.
And it's a shame.
Ooh, okay. She almost hit me with that Cardi B, y'all. Oh, so is there anything else you want to add
So
to this?
this is what I've realized recently, because one of the big things with the stuff that I do, I have written a book called Let That Beep Beep Man Go, which is like curse words or whatever. And I'm very good at getting over breakups. And presently I'm in a relationship. For years, I haven't been in a relationship. This relationship is pretty much new.
Ooh.
And my God, even though I'm glad to be in a relationship, I realize how exhausting it can be, how things, sometimes you say you want something and then when you get it, you're like, is this what I want? Because one minute when you're single, you're living your life, you don't have to answer to nobody, you go anywhere, you don't have to do nothing. But when you're in a relationship, you have to call the person. I think it's being single for so long and then being in a relationship, it have its happy moments, but sometimes I'm like, Lord God, I think I like being single. If you're watching this, I'm sorry, I still love you.
So, Miss Francois, let me get some tea here because this is juicy. Congratulations on this new pot that is brewing. So, is this person American, Caribbean, or on the other side of the tracks?
So the American's gonna get mad. He is American, but he's not the typical American. Because when I say typical, I mean it has a lot of Americans that don't have passports, and that bothers me with a lot of Americans that I have known, that I have experienced. So let me set that straight. So he is not the typical American. He has been to Thailand, Philippines, all over the world. So when someone to me travel, they have a different viewpoint of how they view the world. They're more open to things, more understanding. They, can express themselves more. That is my experience. So yes, he's American, but not typical. Thank you.
Mm, boy, you almost hit a nerve because I hate when people say typical American because I'm like, what is a typical American?
That's what it is. Like if you meet a New Yorker this way, New York is the whole world. No, it's not. Okay, you need a passport. Florida is not another country. It's a state. Okay.
Okay. Ooh, see, Miss Francois, she wants somebody that can travel. So luckily, this honeybee has a passport, so they could travel with her. Because if not, he will probably be on the roadside somewhere. So, Miss Francois, how can the audience connect with you via your website, and where do you primarily hang out on social media?
So basically, it's just like my name. If you look on www.mssfrancois.com, I always tell people it's so much easier to find me. I'm on pretty much every social media that matters, from the TikTok to the Facebook to the Instagram. And it's easy to find me. But once you go to that website, everything is there. I know I'm amazing.
Yes, she has everything there. She has some bad girl Riri photos on there. She has some that are like, woo, hot and spicy, like hot pepper soup. And then she has some that are very professional. So I will definitely have all of Miss Francois' contact information in the show notes so you can connect with this firecracker, y'all. I thought I was a firecracker, but she kind of one up me, y'all, on my show. But that's okay. I'm gonna humble myself. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're on 40 plus platforms. You could also see the video to this by going to our YouTube channel, which is at Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp. And lastly, but not least, I want to thank each one of you for continuing to support the guests that I bring on, myself, and the movement and mission behind the podcast, which is to bring content that is educational, inspirational, motivational, while we weave in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Because believe it or not, it takes all of us coming together to make this world a better place. So until next time, peace, love, and lots of blessings. And if you want to be a sponsor, go to genesisamariscamp.net to find out more info. Ciao.